Welcome back to Tech Central. This is Morning Express, and it's time for us to look at technology. By the way, if you have any innovations or any technology that you think is helping humanity, do let us know. We'll be more than happy to feature it right here on Morning Express. Let me go straight to introducing our Tech Central guest this morning, and I have Amadou Chico, who is the CEO for FasterDev, and that's for Faster Development, right?
Yes.
Good to have you, and thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you very much.
I also have Hannington Mambo, who is Chief Technical Officer for the same, and that's FasterDev. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
And welcome. So maybe we can start with you, Amadou. What is FasterDev all about?
So FasterDev is a tool that was developed by my partner Hannington Mambo in the struggles of building software, enterprise software. So he found that a lot of the software writing, the code, is it's the same thing, it's repetitive. So he thought, how can we automate the process so that we can spend less time coding and more time actually building the software and solving the problems. So he ended up building FasterDev as a tool within Mambo software to accelerate the process of building other softwares.
Okay, so what advantage do we have when we have this tool?
Well, the first advantage is the savings on time and money, because you'll imagine that a lot of companies have short deadlines when they need to deliver technology products.
Right.
So they have a lot of teams that are working day and night to finish the project, and then they have little time for testing and implementation. So FasterDev, first of all, accelerates that process and reduces the time needed to build the software. And if you reduce the time needed to build the software, you then save money on the time.
Yeah, because time is money, really,
exactly.
at the end of the day.
So you get to save money in terms of number of developers that you'll need, but you also get to save money because most of the time involved is actually people coding.
Coding.
Yeah.
All right, Hannington, one might think that it's an ingenious thing to, did you discover it just by mistake that the code is always the same, and as a result thought, hey, why do we keep repeating this, reinventing the wheel?
Yeah, actually it's based on quite a number of years of experience. I've been in software development for a while now, and over time you build this application, and the next somebody asks you for a circle management system, you build that, you build a hospital management system, and at the end of the day, you start realizing that there's actually a pattern that whichever industry you're building the software for, there's a particular pattern that the software takes, this particular structure that is built around the software. And while doing that, you always get challenges of time, challenges of not being able to hire sufficient programmers to do this. So I decided, okay, is there a way that this could be automated to get this done faster and to get this delivered to clients in a more cost-effective way? Okay. So it came out of those challenges, trying to address them.
Now, Amadou, looking at this, it's brilliant. In terms of now having this as a product that one can sell, I would have thought that, well, they say time is money, and if it takes me long to program it, all I'll need to do is charge for it, so I ultimately make more. Why reduce the time?
Well, because by reducing the time, you can spend more of that time understanding the customer, because most of the softwares that people build normally should be built to solve a problem.
Right.
And it's human problem. So you need to be able to spend more time understanding the user,
problem,
which is called UX, UI design thinking. So if we spend more time in the lab, we spend less time with the people who need the product. So if we can reduce the time in the lab, we can spend more time with the people. But if you consider also the speed at which technology is evolving, if you spend less time developing the tool itself, you can spend more time coming up with innovative solutions, integrating other solutions within, testing and trying. And so I think there's always a benefit when we can save time.
Okay.
Because we can use that time for something much more qualitative.
All right, Hannington, maybe just for the sake of somebody who might be thinking of getting into this, what does it take, or what does one require to be a software developer?
Software development requires a given set of skills, and there's the human side of it other than the education. Having been in this industry, trained several people and interacted with a lot of students, it's the kind of skill set you need is somebody who is able to concentrate 6 long hours and deliver tasks. If you don't have that, if you're a socialite, don't get into this industry. It won't work
It
for you.
requires a lot of your time to concentrate on that, not on Facebook and Twitter and all that.
No.
But one might say maybe you're understanding the client, like you said, you're trying to understand the client through social media.
Well, maybe tools like FasterDev will be able to, will enable people like that to enter.
To develop the software, then you can get back to your social status. Now, let me come back to you, Amadou, and how do you package this and sell it, the business side of it?
Yes, so actually, this being a product in itself solves a need, which is the need for, let's say, an amateur developer who's working on his own, who wants to be able to do a business for multiple clients, so they can use the software. If it's a company, a software development company that also has a lot of projects, and they want to reduce the time and achieve their deadlines, they can also interact with FasterDev. The goal in the future is to get to a point where even you, as an individual who has no technology background, and you want to be able to build an app customized and specific to yourself, that you have a user-friendly interface where you can build it from your phone wherever you are. So those are our three business models. There's one towards the software developers who are on their own, independent. There's another one towards the IT firms who they need this tool to accelerate the process of finishing their products, or the individual who just wants to build his own software. That for now, it will be done through Mambo software, using this tool. But the goal is in the next few years to have it automated with artificial intelligence, that you can actually talk on your phone and say, I need this specific app, and it's built for you automatically.
It's built for you. All right, we'll come shortly, Mambo, to the actual working of this particular software that you've developed, or application that you've developed. How long do you envisage, because that sounds interesting to me, how long do you envisage in having a time where I can develop my own app that works for me and is specifically for me?
Actually, we've already built the backbone of that. And right now, we are looking at having that possible in less than a year's time.
In less than a year's time?
Yes, because where we are already, we have already automated the process of building software to an extent that actually it happens in seconds. So what we are trying to do is now to make it easier for somebody without technical background to be able to use the application as well. So since we've gone through the first hurdle, the first difficult part, the next part should happen in a few months' time.
Okay, I'll come to you shortly and you'll show us practically how this works. But what are some of the solutions that you possibly have used to solve using this particular software? What are some of the products that maybe you've come up with?
Well, the main product right now that has been totally built by FasterDev is called Bankopa, which is a SACO management software.
System.
Yeah, system. So it's an end-to-end ERP that normally would take 2 years to develop with a normal team of competent software developers. But single-handedly, Mambo and his team of 3 or 4 built it in 2 months using FasterDev.
Wow, and it works so far?
Yes, it does.
All right, I think let's get to my favorite part, and that's seeing how the software works. Maybe run us through how this works.
Yes, thank you. So I'll just
Maybe we
remove
can
the
start
screen.
with what is this that we see here?
Oh yeah, what you are seeing here, this is an illustration of how FasterDev work. So we are able to take people's ideas and run it through FasterDev, of course, having done a few technical things to it. Or if somebody was technical enough and they were able to develop their own database, we can run it through,
still do that.
Yeah, through FasterDev.
Okay.
And the beauty about FasterDev is people use different types of applications. So it's able to do this for mobile applications, web applications, and desktop applications.
So in short, if I get this right, this diagram of yours, if I have an idea, I can go straight into FasterDev to develop that idea.
Yeah, so this is the work in progress I was talking about.
Right.
For the non-technical people, that might need you to have somebody else interpret that idea for you so that it can be run through FasterDev.
Okay.
But that's what we are working, so that can also be a complete line. Right now it's dotted.
Oh, right now it's dotted. Oh, that's why it's dotted. So you need somebody in between there in case you're not technically aware of how to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But if you're able, you can go through the database. You come up with a database.
If you can come up with a database, that's research, that's ingredient for FasterDev.
Okay.
It will be able to churn out the codes, the user interfaces, the reports, and all that for you in whichever platform that you'd like to use.
And if we could add that the database also has been automated so that it can create its own databases. So it means you don't need 2 databases for two similar softwares.
Yes.
Okay. So now, once it's gone through FasterDev, what happens?
It will give you a host of what we call objects in software. So objects are like the interfaces you interact with. For example, the form where you enter a customer's name.
Right.
and the reports where you see what is this customer statement. So it gives you most of, like about 95% of what you need to have a complete application. So of course there'll be the human element still required to do the other 5%, which basically is just positioning and customizing it in a particular required way. So it gives you all that, both for mobile applications, web applications, or desktop applications. So the choice is yours.
It's up to you what you're developing. All right, let's do it practically and see how we get into this.
Yeah. I will do a demo of a desktop application.
Okay.
And this is because we've recently just completed a complete ERP, which is Bankopa. It's a circle management system. And
now this to me looks like heebie-jeebies. There's just, things I'm seeing there. I'm wondering if I'm going dizzy. But anyway, go on.
Okay, I was trying to bring you to a more familiar screen.
Okay, this is more, this I can read.
Yes. So this is the kind of screen you'll see with most enterprise applications. So this is a circle management system. You'll have a login area.
Okay. And it's called Mambo Software, named after you.
Yes, after, yeah.
At least I'll know when you're rich and famous and out there, developing very huge softwares, I'll have taken a picture with you. Go on.
Yeah. So what I want to show you is a sample form that would be used when a circle is capturing information of their members, so which we call customers. So this is a sample.
It's more like biodata?
Yeah, biodata, exactly. This would be the form that they use to capture that information. Now, in software development, if you are using the conventional tools where somebody actually sits down, design this form, and write the code behind it, which I'll try to show in a minute, designing something like this, and this is not just me saying, we've done this test.
Tried it.
We've done this test with a few programmers, and we got their feedback. So to design a form like this and write the code behind it, we take a programmer.
Like this.
Yeah, So what I'm talking about is these things, yeah?
Okay.
And then there are codes
and when
written
you talk
behind
about codes behind it, you mean now when it goes online for me to fill it in, there's certain codes which would have to support it for it to work?
Exactly.
Okay.
The codes for doing validation, for example, your name should not be more than 100 characters long, things like that. There should be no space in the first name, things like that. So that's what we call the code behind. Okay. Now to do this, for this single form, that would take a competent programmer about 2 days to complete.
Okay.
Now, for a complete ERP, like Bankopa that we are talking about for circle management, it has about 250 of such forms. So multiply that by 2.
When you say 250, you mean 250 different forms that they have put out there for customers depending on your needs?
Oh, they're for various things. So what I'm showing you here is just for capturing customer information. There could be one for capturing the supplier's information.
Okay.
Yeah, so such kind of forms. So there are about 250 of them in this application.
Okay.
So multiply that by 2 for a competent programmer. That takes 500 days.
500 days.
Which is not less than 2 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Just to develop this.
Yeah, just to come up with that interface and put the code behind it.
250 pages.
Yes.
Okay.
And at that point, we are still excluding other things like security, building around the software, and customization. So for 500 days, what FasterDev is able to do that, and that's the demo I'm just going to give you now. Okay. So I'll close this and get to FasterDev, which is already running. And it has, this is why we are saying it's, at the moment, it may only be used by programmers.
People who would understand what all this is.
But we are soon getting to the point where this will actually take voice commands.
Okay.
Yes, that's our ultimate goal.
That's where you're headed.
Yes.
Okay, but so far programmers would obviously understand what this is all about.
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
So a programmer would say which kind of the name of the application they want to do, the type of database they want to use, the location of the database, the location of the application. So that's kind of basic information. And then we've made it simple enough that all you need is to click a button there to go next, and it will show you all the objects in your database.
Okay.
So objects, these are like tables in a database, which are used for storing and retrieving information. So you'd select a particular form that you want, and in this case, I would select the customer, since I just showed you the example of a customer. So when I select this customer, it further shows me the objects that this customer table has.
Okay. And these you will have developed. I mean, when you're thinking of what you need to capture in that biodata or this customer base, you'll have developed it before, or do you do it here?
No, this would have been developed. That's why in the illustration we were showing, there was the database bit.
Okay.
So we are saying if somebody was able to design that database, so now we are working off that database.
Off the database, okay.
Yes.
But you need just one database of one type of software.
Yeah.
So if we were doing something, for example, for the finance sector, you have one database, and that is enough for any other application which is similar.
Okay.
So now that I've selected my options, I will open the application that I'm going to do. So here, I'm not sure whether this is quite clear to viewers, but here we are saying we have, this is the form we are using to capture the customer information.
Right.
So for now, I'll just delete it for the purpose of this demo. So it's not there anymore.
Right.
So I get to FasterDev, and since I've given it the specifications and I'm telling it that I want it to create for me that customer form, so I select that customer table and say I want it to create that file, and then I click next.
Okay.
And I want you to time this. I don't know if you have an accurate time.
Let me see if I can...
So he just deleted 2 days of work.
Yeah, I just deleted 2 days of work.
What you've just deleted there was 2 days. If I was your boss, I would not be a very happy man. I'm trying to find where my
Okay, let's
timer
do
is.
this.
But anyway, yeah, go on.
Yeah, let's do this. The timer thing, I just mentioned it because I want to let people think of how fast it can be.
I'm ready to time.
Okay, so when I click next and I tell you to stop, try to stop the time.
So you'll tell me when to start.
Yeah, so start,
Okay.
stop.
Stop.
I think if I read it correct, that was about 2
It was
seconds.
actually 3 seconds.
Okay, let's work with 3 seconds.
I actually have 4 seconds here, but even if it was 5 seconds,
Yeah.
that's impressive for 2 days of work.
Exactly.
But wait,
So-
we still don't have the form. What
So-
we have there is some other heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, okay, it did what it was supposed to do in the application itself. So I come back to this application, and I want to enable the view. So as you can see, now we have that customer. But for some programming technologies, we need to include it in the project so that it is visible. So if I open it, there it is.
So in 4 seconds, you've done what somebody would have taken 2 days to do.
A competent developer.
A competent developer. So for somebody who'd be guessing, probably we're talking, what, 5 days?
Yes.
Okay.
And that actually is just the tip of the iceberg. So I said this application has 250 forms. If I want to recreate all those forms all at once, this application can do that in less than 80 seconds.
Less than
80 seconds. That is 500 days of work.
Reduced to that much. Wow,
Yeah.
that is
Actually, if you have 80
phenomenal.
seconds, I can do it now.
Okay, and you'd be able to do that and develop that.
Yes.
All right, Amadou, where do you see this going in terms of the future? And now, for somebody who's a developer, maybe they charge or they feel like their work is to actually come up with those codes, and that's what they're paid for.
That's true.
This almost eliminates that.
Yes, it does. Well, one funny thing is FasterDev makes a software developer obsolete because in some cases you won't need as many software developers as you would already have. But then what it also does is it enables them to get more jobs done. So for now, we're charging around $30 per table, like the ones that he just created. We're building a web application so that people can download it and be able to work from the privacy of their company or their homes. And the future, as you said, is that we can build a very big company out of this, a company that can actually invest in other technologies. Because we have a lot of brilliant people out there who have great ideas, but they don't have the technical background. So that's one thing that it's going to be able to offer. Is that a lot of people will be able to achieve their dreams of building successful technology firms through the use of FasterDev. We're going to be able to accelerate the development of technology worldwide in terms of robotics and nanotechnology. Every type of technology today, there's an aspect of coding.
Right.
So if we can reduce that time, we can be part of the solution of people thinking of how do we advance mankind, how do we improve the way people live, how do we improve the way people interact, how do we improve the way people do commerce. So we see it as a solution that has a broad potential. However, we need to build a sustainable business out of the solution so that it actually serves its purpose rather than just being another innovation.
Another innovation, absolutely. So Huntington, how long do you think roughly to take for training? Because training, I guess, would also be important in this aspect to know how to use the software.
Yeah, that's, like I mentioned, that's where we are headed so that we get it to a point where it is as simple as anybody.
Voice commands.
Voice commands should be able to use it. Actually, you know, one of our dreams is that next time, they're called the homestay moms, decide to do their own inventory of the kitchen, and they want to track that in an application in their phone, they can actually dictate to FasterDev, and FasterDev will deliver that application to them on their phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's where you're headed.
That's where we're headed.
And this could be even in form of what, recipes or whatever it is that they want to...
Any problem that she's going through.
Yeah. So that's where we are headed with this. And we are also, by the time we get to that level, we are seeing ourselves getting to the level where now laptops are being distributed for schools.
Right.
By the time they get to class 4, they will be able to start using FasterDev and to do their own applications. Somebody wants an application to manage their training program or their assignment schedules and all that, create their own timetables. They'll be able to do that using FasterDev.
Okay, how easy is it to troubleshoot on FasterDev? Because it's almost taking away, you see, if you look at it from the aspect of training, those who are trained to code know what the issue might be. But now when you use FasterDev, it does all that for you. So how easy is it to troubleshoot? Should there be a challenge?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, actually. It's something that plagued us right from the beginning when I started doing this, because right now we are talking about 250 interfaces that it can build in about, actually, its precise timing is 72 seconds. Now, in 72 seconds, I have 250 interfaces and code behind them and reports and all that. So if something was not done correctly in one line of code.
Right.
So you have 250 interfaces. That's something horrible.
Multiplies, yes. Yes.
Yes, so what we've done, actually, in the last 3 months, what we've done is we used it to build a real commercial application that is in use. And that is the only time, actually, we were able to get down to like really cleaning it up, making sure that everything that it produces is accurate and has no issues. Plus, we've also recently been able to develop it to the level where it can edit its own code. Like, we churn all this code and the interfaces of an application. We can run it through FasterDev again to reverse or to change something in it, which for me is really like taking it to really a different level, because there are some commercial tools that exist for people to generate code or automate applications. But most of the time, at the top of that, they normally write for you, please note that the code below this line are generated using a tool. Right. Any changes you make will be overwritten. And that has been annoying. So this, for me, is like the first application that I know that will be able to edit code that it generated without overwriting your own changes.
Your own changes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So,
okay, what about backup? Amadou, what is there a form of backup? Should now I face challenges and I want to consult with the software makers or the app makers, how do I do that?
Well, we have a support team on our own that enables any person who will be using this to be able to have access to it. But because the database is yours as well, you actually get to have that backup. So it's to you now to be sure that you have a secure place where you can keep your data and you have enough storage for what you're working on.
All right, Huntington, then thank you very much. I guess we've gone through it. Is there anything maybe we've left out that you'd want to highlight in terms of the technology behind it?
The technology, yeah, just one thing is, FasterDev in itself at the moment is really only useful to programmers. We will get to the point where the public and anybody else can use it, but it has produced fantastic products. All the products that are produced by Mambo Software, that is from SACCO management systems, the property management systems that are out there with several clients, hospital management systems and school management systems, all that is produced with FasterDev. And, you know, people usually tell us, like, okay, you have such a small team. Why are you doing so many applications? This is why.
This is why. You've got the secret right here.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mambo and Amadou. Maybe to the benefit of those young people who might be watching and would love to go into this, how do you inspire them? What do you encourage them to do?
Well, I think first, above everything, they need to believe in themselves and they need to have a higher purpose. One thing that I liked about my friend Mambo is that he loves what he's doing, so he's passionate about it. He would rather not eat than not work, you see? And so I think that in the world of technology, in the world of entrepreneurship, a lot of people they're limited by their own self-beliefs. So you have to be able to see yourself as someone who's a problem solver and that you have a role to play in the bigger universe of things.
All right, Huntington Mambo, thank you very much. And
Thank you very
Amadou
much for
Chico,
hosting us.
thank you very much for joining us this